Have you ever met someone and felt a profound sense of absence? Not that they were a bad person, but that something was missing. It's as if you were looking at a beautifully crafted shell, a perfect representation of a human being: the smile, the successful career, the socially correct opinions, but the pearl wasn't there. Have you ever wondered if it's possible to be a living, breathing human being without a soul, without that inner spark of consciousness that makes us feel alive, unique, and connected to the world? In a world filled with billions of people, have you ever felt surrounded by what Jung might have called empty human beings? Today, we're going to dive into one of the most provocative and unsettling ideas from the mind of the great Carl Jung, the concept of soullessness. This isn't a simple, supernatural claim about a person lacking a spiritual essence in a religious sense. Jung, with his profound understanding of the psyche, saw something far more chilling. A person who, for various reasons, has become completely disconnected from their unconscious, from their own inner world. They are, in a sense, a walking persona, a beautifully maintained shell of who they could be, but lacking the inner light that gives life its meaning. This video will not only explore what Jung meant by empty human beings, but more importantly, what this idea reveals about the nature of a truly full and conscious life. It is not a judgment on others, but a powerful mirror for ourselves. The first step is to understand what Jung meant by soul. For him, the soul wasn't just a religious concept. It was a psychological reality. It was the totality of the psyche, the inner world that encompasses our emotions, our intuition, our creative impulses, our unconscious memories, and our sacred connection to the collective unconscious. To be a soulless or empty human being, in Jung's view, meant to be completely cut off from this inner world. This person lives entirely on the surface, a slave to the ego and the persona. They are like a car with a perfectly polished exterior, but no engine under the hood. They function, they move, but there's no power source, no inner drive. This leads us to the critical role of the persona. For Jung, the persona is the mask we wear for society. It's the collection of social roles, expectations, and behaviors that we adopt to fit in and function in the world. It's the face you show to your colleagues, to your friends, and to your family. For most of us, this persona is a necessary and healthy part of life. We need it to navigate social situations without revealing every raw emotion. But for the empty human being, the persona is all there is. There's no depth behind the mask. Their life is an endless theatrical performance, an imitation of what they think a person should be, but without the inner substance to back it up. Their opinions are not their own. They are borrowed from the loudest voice in the room or the most popular media trend. Their identity is a patchwork quilt of external expectations, with no authentic self to hold it all together. So, how does a person become this way? Jung believed it was a result of a profound disconnection from the unconscious, a process that can happen for many reasons. It can be a product of a life lived entirely in the material world, chasing external validation, money, and status, without ever taking a moment for genuine introspection. We've all seen this phenomenon. People on the hedonic treadmill, constantly seeking a bigger house, a faster car, more likes on social media, believing that this next acquisition will finally fill the void. But the void, being internal, can never be filled by external things. It can also be a defense mechanism, a way of protecting oneself from the pain and vulnerability that comes with truly feeling one's emotions. Perhaps a person experienced deep trauma and found it easier to simply shut off their emotional life, to retreat into a purely logical, intellectual existence. They learn to intellectually process situations, but never truly feel them. They can tell you they are sad, but they cannot access the raw, authentic feeling of sadness. This emptiness can also be a product of a highly conforming society, where individual expression and inner life are suppressed in favor of group identity and obedience. These individuals have been conditioned to believe that their own feelings and intuition are dangerous or wrong. They have forgotten how to listen to the whispers of their soul. They are deaf to their intuition, blind to their dreams, and cut off from their own creative impulses. The key characteristic of these empty human beings is their lack of genuine feeling and intuition. They can imitate emotions. They can say the right things. They can parrot the socially accepted empathetic response. But there's no real, authentic experience behind it. You'll notice a hollowness in their eyes, a certain flatness in their presence. They operate on logic, rules, and external stimuli alone. They can be incredibly successful, charming, and charismatic, but a conversation with them often feels hollow, devoid of any real depth or intimacy. They struggle with empathy, not because they are evil, but because they simply cannot connect to the emotional experiences of themselves or others. They see people as objects to be manipulated, not as fellow souls to be connected with. This soullessness can manifest in countless ways. You might see it in a person who is obsessed with trends and social media, constantly seeking external validation to fill an inner void. You might see it in a corporate ladder climber who ruthlessly sacrifices all human connection for power. Or you might see it in a person who seems to float through life, never experiencing joy or sorrow in a truly authentic way. They are like a ship without a rudder, drifting on the surface of life, propelled by the winds of external opinion, but with no inner compass to guide them. This idea from Jung is not meant to be a judgment, but a profound and important warning. The empty human being is a cautionary tale for all of us. It reminds us of the dangers of living a life that is not our own, a life that is entirely defined by external expectations. The antidote for Jung is to do the difficult but rewarding work of individuation, the process of becoming a truly whole and integrated self. It means taking time for introspection, paying attention to our dreams, listening to our intuition, and having the courage to confront our shadow. It means daring to be different, to be authentic, and to be a genuine individual, even if it goes against the grain. The person with a soul, in Jung's view, is not a perfect person. In fact, they are often a person wrestling with their own darkness and complexities, but they are alive. They have a rich inner world. They feel joy and sorrow authentically. They are connected to themselves and to others in a meaningful way. They have an inner compass that guides them, a sense of purpose that is not dependent on external validation. They are not just living, they are experiencing. And that, Jung would argue, is the truest measure of a person's life, not their status, not their possessions, but the depth and richness of their soul. And by understanding the danger of becoming empty, we are given the roadmap to ensuring that we live a life that is truly, deeply, and unapologetically full. The warning of the empty human being is, paradoxically, the most powerful invitation to a life of profound meaning.